To do anything well, you must have the humility to bumble around a bit, to follow your nose, to get lost, to goof. Have the courage to try an undertaking and possibly do it poorly. Unremarkable lives are marked by the fear of not looking capable when trying something new. That is part of the first step, which is an excerpt of The Art of Living by Epictetus. This is a new interpretation by Sharon Lebell. This was published a few years ago. I love this book. I just go through it and underline stuff that I love. It's a bunch of just nuggets of wisdom by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. So I thought I'd just read some of those nuggets today. A little background: Epictetus was born a slave in AD 50, and his master sent him to Rome to study philosophy. He studied under Gaius Musonius Rufus, and Epictetus went on to be one of the biggest, most influential Stoic philosophers, and he actually taught, one of his students was Marcus Aurelius, another, probably the most famous Stoic philosopher nowadays. So I read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and that helped me, and I really enjoyed that. So I looked into some other Stoics, and Epictetus, I actually like reading this even more than Meditations, because the way this book is laid out is just like one page, very short nuggets. It's just like, 60-second reads that are just nuggets of wisdom. So here's some things it says in here. I love this stuff. It says, "Behold the world fresh, as it is, on its own terms, through the eyes of a beginner. To know that you do not know, and to be willing to admit that you do not know, without sheepishly apologizing, is real strength and sets the stage for learning and progress in any endeavor. Spirited curiosity is an emblem of the flourishing life. Arrogance is the banal mask for cowardice. Clear thinking and self-importance cannot logically coexist. Clear thinking and self-importance cannot logically coexist." I like the way she interpreted this. It's just kind of written in modern plain English, really easy to understand. I kind of want to go back and learn Greek, so I can understand it better, but maybe someday. This is from "The Good Life is the Life of Inner Serenity." It says, "Say to yourself, coping calmly with this inconvenience is the price I pay for my inner serenity, for freedom from perturbation. You don't get something for nothing." Keeping your will in harmony with truth and concerning yourself with what is beyond your control are mutually exclusive. While you are absorbed in one, you will neglect the other. Freedom comes from understanding the limits of our own power and the natural limits set in place by divine providence. I like this one. It's approach life as a banquet. Think of your life as it were a banquet where you would behave graciously. When dishes are passed to you, extend your hand and help yourself to a moderate portion. If a dish should pass you by, enjoy what is already on your plate. Or if the dish hasn't passed you yet, patiently wait your turn. Carry over this same attitude of polite restraint and gratitude to your children spouse, career, and finances. There is no need to yearn, envy, and grab. You will get your rightful portion when it is your time. Diogenes and Heraclitus were impeccable models of living by such principles rather than by raw impulses. Make it your quest to imitate their worthy example. I like this. Avoid it. Avoid adopting other people's negative views. Down near the bottom here, it says something I underlined. It is not a demonstration of kindness or friendship to the people we care about to join them in indulging in wrong-headed negative feelings. We do a better service to ourselves and others by remaining detached and avoiding melodramatic reactions. Still, if you find yourself in conversation with someone who is depressed, hurt, or frustrated, show them kindness and give them a sympathetic ear. Just don't allow yourself to be pulled down too. That's interesting. That's don't allow yourself to be pulled down too. That's it's interesting. I love this. Act well the part that is given to you. It says, we are like actors in a play. The divine will has assigned us our roles in life without consulting us. Some of us will act in a short drama, others in a long one. We might be assigned the part of a poor person, a cripple, a distinguished celebrity or public leader, or an ordinary private citizen. Although we can't control which roles are assigned to us, it must be our business to act our given role as best as we possibly can and to refrain from complaining about it. Wherever you find yourself, and in whatever circumstances, give an impeccable performance. If you are surprised to be a reader, read. If you are supposed to be a reader, read. If you are supposed to be a writer, write. From No One Can Hurt You. People don't have the power to hurt you. Even if someone shouts abuse at you or strikes you, if you are insulted, it is always your choice to view what is happening as insulting or not. If someone irritates you, it is only your own response that is irritating you. Therefore, when anyone seems to be provoking you, remember that it is only your judgment of the incident that provokes you. Don't let your emotions get ignited by mere appearances. Try not to merely react in the moment. Pull back from the situation. Take a wider view. Compose yourself. Here's from Our Duties Are Revealed by Our Relations with One Another. It says, when you are faithfully occupied with performing the acts of a wise and decent person, seeking to conform your intentions and acts to the divine will, you do not feel victimized by the words or deeds of others. At worst, those words and deeds will seem amusing or pitiable. This is never suppress a generous impulse. Follow through on all your generous impulses. Do not question them, especially if a friend needs you. Act on his or her behalf. Do not hesitate. Don't sit around speculating about the possible inconvenience, problems, or dangers. As long as you let your reason lead the way, you will be safe. It is our duty to stand by our friends in their hour of need. This is interesting. Speak only with good purpose. It says, unchecked speech is like a vehicle wildly lurching out of control and destined for a ditch. If need be mostly silent or speak sparingly. Later on in this little chapter, it says, when we blather about trivial things, we ourselves become trivial, for our attention gets taken up with trivialities. You become what you give your attention to. It says, avoid blaming, praising, or comparing people. Try whenever possible, if you notice the conversation around you decaying into palaver, to see if you can subtly subtly lead the conversation back to more constructive subjects. The last thing it says in this chapter is, if you can, avoid making idle promises whenever possible. This is from Be Careful About the Company You Keep. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Am I doing my part to contribute to the spiritual progress of all with whom I come in contact? This is from Don't Defend Your Reputation or Intentions. Don't be afraid of verbal abuse or criticism. Only the morally weak feel compelled to defend or explain themselves to others. Let the quality of your deeds speak on your behalf. We can't control the impressions others form about us, and the effort to do so only debases our character. So if anyone should tell you that a particular person has spoken critically of you, don't bother with excuses or defenses. Just smile and reply, I guess that person doesn't know about all my other faults. Otherwise, he wouldn't have mentioned only these. This is from Emulate Worthy Role Models. Invoke the characteristics of the people you admire most and adopt their manners, speech, and behavior as your own. There is nothing false in this. We all carry the seeds of greatness within us, but we need an image as a point of focus in order that they may sprout. At the same time, just because you are meeting a person of great merit doesn't mean you should be overly awed. People are just people, regardless of their talent or influence. This is from Prefer Enduring Satisfaction to Immediate Gratification. Practice the art of testing whether particular things are actually good or not. Learn to wait and assess instead of always reacting from untrained instinct. Spontaneity is not a virtue in and of itself. Later on it says, if in calmly considering this pleasure, you realize that if you indulge in it, you will regret it, abstain and rejoice in your forbearance. Reinforce the triumph of your character, and you will be strengthened. This says courtesy. This is from Courtesy and Logic each have their place. Propriety and logic are different things, and each has its appropriate application. The proposition, either it is day or it is night, works well in a disjunctive argument, but not as well in a friendly conversation. Likewise, at a banquet, it may make sense to take the largest share of food if you are really hungry, but it would be bad manners to do so. When you dine with others, be aware not only how much your body appreciates the delicacies offered, but also how important good manners and personal refinement are. I really like this one. This is called Everything Has Two Handles. Everything has two handles, one by which it may be carried, the other by which it can't. If, for example, your brother or sister treats you poorly, don't grasp the situation by the handle of hurt or injustice, or you won't be able to bear it and you will become bitter. Do the opposite. Grasp the situation by the handle of familial ties. In other words, focus on the fact that this is your brother or sister, that you were brought up together and thus have an enduring, unbreakable bond. Viewing the situation that way, you understand it correctly and preserve your equilibrium. I really like that. That's interesting. This is mistreatment comes from false impressions. It is unrealistic to expect people to see you as you see yourself. If people reach conclusions based on false impressions, they are the ones hurt rather than you, because it is they who are misguided. This is from Living Wisdom is More Important Than Knowing About It. The important thing is not to be able merely to speak fluently about abstruse subjects. What is essential is to understand nature and align your intentions and actions with the way things are. Later on it says, there is a big difference between saying valuable things and doing valuable things. I like this. Start living your ideals. Now is the time to get serious about living your ideals. Once you have determined the spiritual principles you wish to exemplify, abide by these rules as if they were laws, as if it were indeed sinful to compromise them. Don't mind if others don't share your convictions. How long can you afford to put off who you really want to be? Your nobler self cannot wait any longer. Put your principles into practice now. Stop the excuses and procrastination. This is your life. You aren't a child anymore. The sooner you set yourself to your spiritual program, the happier you will be. That's not the whole thing. I'm reading excerpts of these. There's even more in here. This says, virtue, happiness, and tranquility are not separate or distinct experiences, but co-emergent states. Co-emergent. This is from The Soul's Cry. When the soul cries out, it is a sign that we have arrived at a necessary, mature stage of self-reflection. The secret is not to get stuck there dithering or wringing your hands, but to move forward by resolving to heal yourself. Philosophy asks us to move into courage. Its remedy is the unblinking excavation of the faulty and specious premises on which we base our lives and our personal identity. I'll read that again. Philosophy asks us to move into courage. Its remedy is the unblinking excavation of the faulty and specious premises on which we base our lives and our personal identity. This is from The Real Purpose of Philosophy. It is, of course, the love of wisdom. It is the art of living a good life. Philosophy is intended for everyone. Philosophy's purpose is to illuminate the ways our soul has been infected by unsound beliefs. Self-scrutiny applied with kindness is the main antidote. True happiness is a verb. At the end here it says, to ease our soul's suffering, we engage in disciplined introspection in which we conduct thought experiments to strengthen our ability to distinguish between wholesome and lazy, hurtful beliefs and habits. This is from Starting Out is Hard. The first steps toward wisdom are the most strenuous because our weak and stubborn souls dread exertion without absolute guarantee of reward and the unfamiliar. As you progress in your efforts, your resolve is fortified and self-improvement progressively comes easier. By and by, it actually becomes difficult to work counter to your own best interest. By the steady but patient commitment to removing unsound beliefs from our souls, we become increasingly adept at seeing through our flimsy fears, our bewilderment in love, and our lack of self-control. We stop trying to look good to others. One day we contentedly realize we've stopped playing to the crowd. I'll end with this one here. Actually, here's two more. Forgive over and over. Generally, we're all doing the best we can. When someone speaks to you curtly, disregards what you say, performs what seems to be a thoughtless gesture, or even an outright evil act, Think to yourself, if I were that person and had endured the same trials, borne the same heartbreaks, had the same parents, and so on, I probably would have done or said the same thing. We are not privy to the stories behind people's actions, so we should be patient with others and suspend our judgment of them, recognizing the limits of our understanding. This does not mean we condone evil deeds or endorse the idea that different actions carry the same moral weight. When people do not act as you would wish them to, exercise the muscles of your good nature by shrugging your shoulders and saying to yourself, "Oh well," then let the incident go. Try also to be as kind to yourself as possible. Do not measure yourself against others or even against your ideal self. Human betterment is a gradual, 2 steps forward, 1 step back effort. Forgive others for their misdeeds over and over again. This gesture fosters inner ease. Forgive yourself over and over again. Then try to do better next time. This is from Good is Good. Goodness exists independently of our conception of it. The good is out there, and it always has been out there, even before we began to exist.